It is the most famous royal residence in the world, the heart of Britain's monarchy, a palace seen by millions. But behind those golden gates, a storm has been brewing. In 2017, a quiet announcement turned into a national outcry. Buckingham Palace, aging and in disrepair, would undergo a decade-long renovation. The cost? £369 million, and of that, £132 million would come straight from taxpayers' pockets. No scandal, no affair, just a spreadsheet, and a question that rattled the nation. Why are ordinary people funding royal upgrades while struggling to heat their homes? This is Crown Buzz Channel. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon for notifications. Let's begin. Officials argued that the refurbishment was long overdue and structurally necessary. A palace leak or electrical fire would be catastrophic, both for the monarchy and for the UK's national heritage. Buckingham Palace, they claimed, wasn't just a royal residence, it was an institution, a working office hosting thousands of diplomatic events and public engagements each year. The renovation, they said, would protect the future of the monarchy itself. But that narrative didn't resonate with everyone. Critics pointed out that while the royal family sits atop immense private wealth, estimated at over £28 billion by some metrics, they were still turning to the public purse. The sovereign grant, which funds royal expenses, was temporarily increased from 15% to 25% of Crown Estate profits to cover the cost. To some, that felt like a betrayal of the public trust. While the backlash was fierce, some defended the renovation as an investment in national heritage. Supporters argued that Buckingham Palace isn't just a royal residence, it's a global icon and a major draw for tourism, contributing significantly to the UK economy. The royal family, they said, plays a soft power role in diplomacy, charity, and national identity. And preserving their working environment is in the public interest. Others noted that the Crown Estate, whose profits fund the sovereign grant, actually returns far more to the treasury than it takes. In that light, the renovation wasn't just about opulence, but about maintaining a cultural asset tied to Britain's global image. The timing could not have been worse. While the palace halls were being rewired, food bank usage hit record highs, nurses were striking for better wages, schools were pleading for funding. For millions, the royal renovation symbolized a disconnect between the monarchy and the everyday realities of the people they supposedly represent. And then came the optics. Scaffolding went up on Buckingham Palace while austerity policies slashed budgets across the UK. Royal ceremonies continued as usual, but beneath the surface, public opinion was shifting. Newspapers questioned the logic, protesters raised placards, online petitions gathered thousands of signatures demanding the royals pay out of pocket. The renovation, meant to secure the palace for future generations, had instead ignited a modern debate about privilege, class, and accountability. Throughout the rising criticism, Buckingham Palace released statements defending the plan, but the royal family themselves remained largely silent. There were no televised interviews explaining the renovation's necessity, no press conferences reassuring the public. For a monarchy that increasingly depends on public support to justify its existence, the lack of direct engagement felt tone-deaf. Instead of transparency, there was tradition. And tradition, in this case, was not enough. In previous decades, public reverence for the monarchy could weather almost any storm. But times have changed. Younger generations are increasingly skeptical of inherited privilege, especially when it comes with a taxpayer invoice. Polls have shown declining support for the monarchy among millennials and Gen Z, with many questioning whether the institution should even continue. The £132 million renovation became a touchstone for these larger frustrations. It wasn't just about pipes and plaster. It was about perception. At a time when people were being told to tighten their belts, the royals were receiving a financial cushion. There is no denying the palace was in trouble. Engineers described a crumbling core. Outdated electrical systems from the 1940s, pipes on the verge of collapse, asbestos lurking behind walls. In some rooms, the heating barely worked. In others, fire hazards loomed. By any standard, it was a ticking time bomb, a heritage site in desperate need of modernization. And yet, the decision to fund its restoration with public money sparked a national reckoning. Critics were not unsympathetic to the need for repairs, but they questioned the method. Why, they asked, should taxpayers already burdened by rising inflation and social cutbacks carry the weight? With the royal family's estimated private wealth running into the hundreds of millions, some proposed that they fund the renovation themselves. Others pointed to solutions like extending public access to Buckingham Palace, increasing tourism revenue to offset the costs. There were even suggestions of selling off other royal properties to cover the bill, but those ideas were largely brushed aside. Instead, the public was told this was a matter of national heritage, not just monarchy, a palace that belonged to history. Still, the optics were damning, a gilded roof being fixed while public housing crumbled. As news outlets began scrutinizing the budget line by line, headlines turned harsher. Luxury upgrades or basic repairs became a common refrain. Journalists questioned every chandelier, every newly tiled bathroom, every upgraded staff quarters. It became a game of optics, and the palace was losing. Social media only amplified the firestorm. Memes mocked the monarchy's wealth. Activists linked the spending to broader issues of inequality. And every new detail of the refurbishment plan, no matter how necessary, was met with suspicion. Still, the royal household refused to reframe the message. What could have been an opportunity for transparency became a cautionary tale in PR missteps. The backlash didn't stop at Buckingham Palace. It quickly spilled over into wider political territory. The government, already under scrutiny for budget cuts and austerity measures, faced harsh criticism for endorsing such a massive public expense. For many citizens, it was yet another example of misplaced priorities, funding marble halls while food banks struggled to meet rising demand. Cultural critics began to ask deeper questions about the monarchy's place in modern Britain. Was it still a unifying symbol, or had it become an outdated privilege machine? The renovations saga reignited debates about wealth inequality, class divide, and the crown's relationship with the people. These weren't just academic discussions, they were emotional, urgent, and everywhere. In newspapers, on talk shows, across social media. Even beyond the UK, international media picked up the story. The image of a struggling nation bankrolling royal renovations struck a chord in countries grappling with similar economic challenges. The contrast was too sharp to ignore. In a supposed beacon of modern democracy, taxpayers were footing the bill for a golden ceiling. At its core, the scandal asked a simple but dangerous question. If the monarchy costs this much and gives back so little, is it still worth it? King Charles has long advocated for a slimmer monarchy, fewer working royals, lower costs, and more transparency. But the palace renovations, approved under his mother's reign, remain a thorn in the side of that vision. They represent old ways at odds with new expectations. If the crown wishes to remain relevant in the 21st century, it must do more than preserve its buildings. It must preserve its legitimacy. That means acknowledging criticism, justifying decisions, and above all, recognizing that optics matter. Because in today's world, even the firmest stone walls can crack under the weight of public opinion. In the end, Buckingham Palace will likely emerge gleaming, restored, and structurally secure. But what about the monarchy itself? The real cost of the renovation is not measured in pounds. It is measured in public trust. And once that begins to erode, even the most lavishly restored palace may not be enough to hold the institution together. The royals may have saved their home, but did they risk losing the people who once called it their own? What do you think? Should the royal family have paid for the renovations themselves? Is Buckingham Palace worth preserving at any cost? Let us know in the comments. And if you want more deep dives into the stories behind the royal headlines, Make sure to subscribe to Crown Buzz and ring the bell. Next time, we are uncovering the secrets of a royal scandal that never made it to the tabloids, but changed a kingdom forever. Stay curious. Stay royal.